All right, so if you missed yesterday or this morning, Monday, October 5th, we were drawing forms and we're still doing a couple of geometric forms. I asked for some requests of different things, and now we're going to put all these objects together. So we're drawing a sphere, which is going to be a ball, and that is going to be in the center of our work. So right in the middle, go ahead and draw yourself a circle as best as you can. And I'm going to do this a lot faster than I did in class, and you can just pause it as you need. So draw a circle as best as you can. We're going to have a Rubik's Cube over here, so we're going to have to draw a cube. So over on this side, a little bit above halfway of this circle, we're going to start with the bottom of the cube. So we're going to go ahead and draw yourself a square. Remember, these lines are parallel to the edge, parallel to each other, and the lines going across are parallel to the edge and parallel to each other, the bottom edges. So you get yourself a square. We'll go ahead and get the third dimension by pulling out a diagonal line here, and a diagonal line here. All these three lines are going in the same direction. They are parallel to each other, so please make sure you're doing that. Then you're going to connect with these horizontal lines. This goes straight across. Make sure you go straight across. If you don't make your line long enough here, just extend it. And then these go straight down, and they should be parallel to each other. So these are straight down. So you get yourself your cube right here. Now, it's a Rubik's Cube, so it's going to have all these squares inside of it. So try to divide this evenly by adding two lines that are vertical and parallel to your edges right here. It's going to be 1 and 2. And then 2 going across, same parallel to this. Try to divide it as evenly as you can. And we've got 1 and 2. Then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and add the top lines. The top lines are going to be slanted just like this. So it'll go like this, 1, 2. And then these side lines are going to go across this way, like the bottom and the top. So these will be right here. 1, those are parallel to each other. And 2, these are all parallel to each other. We got to add the two lines going in here, so let's get them in here. It's going to be a little skinny in here, a little tight. And we'll get these going in there. 1, 2. Try to divide them as evenly as possible. And we're not using rulers or anything, so we're just doing the best that we can. And then from these lines, they go straight across. Just try to stay as even and parallel as possible. So that's your Rubik's Cube. Next thing we're going to draw was a cylinder, and your class decided to draw a pencil, and we had the pencil over here on this edge. So let's go ahead and start off with a point right around here. So it's going to look something like that. And then we're going to go ahead and make a straight diagonal line that's going to be going toward this corner over here, and then this one will be parallel to that. And again, we're drawing a pencil, which is in the shape of a cylinder with the exception of its point. And then on the end, we're drawing an ellipse right in here. So that's the top of the eraser. And then we'll go ahead and make a little point here. And like I said, you just go ahead and stop this as you need. And I'll zoom in here. So we went ahead and shaded in the tip. And then we're going to, this is where the wood is sharpened, so we'll add a little line in here. And then we're going to get the eraser. So we'll go curved line right here for the eraser. Should look pretty similar to this line here. Then we're going to go twice as long as this, which is about right here. And we're going to make another curved line. And this is the metal part of the pencil. So that's the pencil right now. We'll shade it up in a minute to make it look three-dimensional. For now, that is what that looks like. So far, we're going to have a sphere. We have a Rubik's Cube. And then we have a pencil over on this side. Down here, we used a triangular prism, and we created a tent. So let's go ahead and get our tent in here. And we're going to start off by drawing a triangle over on this bottom corner. So we're going to give a little bit of room. And we'll start off with a triangle. So let's get the bottom parallel to the bottom of the paper. And then we'll go ahead and add a point in there. Bring this out, make ourselves a little equilateral triangle, And then we'll take this out with a diagonal line. It's going to go back like this. Another one here. These should be pretty parallel to each other. And then the way this line goes here, that's the way you're going to draw the line on the back side. So it should be angled like this. And I need to add a little bit to this line here so that it can touch. It should look something like that. And this is the front of the tent, so we'll go ahead and put a line here. We're going to add details in just a second to this. And let's go ahead and go back to our circle and turn it into a sphere. So right now your work should be set up with a circle in the middle, a pencil over here, a cube, and then your tent. So let's start off. Our light source is coming from this side. This will be our sphere. So we're going to start off with shading like a crescent moon. Don't press too hard on it, but we are going to add some value here. It's going to like a crescent moon, so it's going to go from thin to thick and then back to thin. And you always want to go back to the line on your circle, and the empty space, this white space, should always look like a circle. So that white space still looks like a circle. We're shading over on this end, doing our very best to get that there. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to add some more. So I'm going to start a little higher. I'm going to be a little lighter on it. And we're going to go ahead and continue shading in a circular fashion. It's okay if your values are a little different. Right now, we want to go ahead and make sure that we're just keeping it in a circle. And we can continue adding some more very lightly. And again, I have all these lines. I wouldn't worry about them too much. Just make sure you have a nice light value and it gets a little lighter on this edge. I'm going to go ahead and take off this hard line over here so it's not such a hard line on the edge. And then once we've got that, we can go ahead and blend a little bit. I want to blend from the dark to the light. Try to get rid of any hard lines that might stay. I might have to add some more pencil marks to it, and then you just go in a circle. And I'm going to go ahead and I can see this pretty drastically, so I'm going to come in here and it's not really blending too much. So I'm going to have to add a little bit of more lead right in here so it's not so abrupt, this change here. Just add a little bit more gray in there to kind of blend that and have that going. And then you want to go curved, and then I'm going to darken up my edge just a little more than I had it. And this way we can get this blending going. Alright, so something like that. And then if you have a lot of marks on the outside of your form, just go in there and clean that up. And that's exactly what I'm going to do now, because I've got all these little shadows that are outside my form just kind of floating around, and I don't want them in there. So it should look more like this. And I've got my sphere. Next thing we're going to do is shade up we're going to continue shading here, and we're going to shade this up. This is going to be our dark side. It's okay if we lose a little bit of the lines. We still want to see those details. We're not going to do it too dark, maybe like a 4 on your value bar. And then this side will be the lighter side. And so I'm just going to shade this nice and light. So now I've got 2 values. And for the top, I'm just going to go ahead and use my finger and just smudge in there, and it'll get a little value, be lighter. So I've got a light side, and I've got a medium side right here. And then I've got the dark side on this side. Again, I'll go in there and clean up my edges, make sure I don't have any random floating shadows. Alright, the last thing we're going to do is work on our pencil. So our pencil is a cylinder. So our cylinder, the light's coming from this side. We're going to go ahead and shade with a curved line. I'm going to leave the top alone, and I'm also going to leave the metal part of this alone. I'm going to go ahead and add some curved lines, or slanted lines would work too, to about halfway of this pencil. I'm using my pencil laying down, and I'm going to leave the point alone as well. And I'll go ahead and zoom in on that. And then I'm going to clean up everything on the outside. I'm also going to lighten up this side by erasing it. I want to be able to see that edge, but I don't want it to be so dark. So I'm going to lighten that up. I can still see it, but not so dark. And then I'm going to go with my pencil, and I'm going to shade really light on this side. And then I'm just going to go over my dark side over here. And then I'm going to work the dark side. I'm going to just press a little bit more on this dark side and go the opposite. Kind of lighten up going the opposite way. So it looks like a cylinder. And we'll do the same thing to the eraser. I'm going to go ahead and lighten up this line here. And then shade this lightly. And add a little more value on this dark side. The top, we can go ahead and do it all one solid value, which would be a little dark. Since it's not getting the light, it's actually away from the light. And then this metal part, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to be a little less, not as dark as this, because it's metal, so we want it to be shiny. So lighten up this edge here. And then we're going to go from really light to a little darker. And then we'll add a little bit of detail in here. And so what we'll do is right in the middle, we're going to make some lines in here with the point of our pencil. And then going around it, we're going to also add a couple of lines. 1, 2, 1, 2 curved lines in the bottom. And then we can put a couple of dots here, like that. Those will be the details to our pencil. Kind of see that in there. And then down here at the bottom, we're going to shade lightly on this side, and then a little darker on this side. This should look something like that. And that should be the end of that. For your tent, you're going to go ahead and shade this part up. This will be our dark side, about a 4. So let's go ahead and shade that up. Nice and dark. Not the darkest you can get, but this is away from the light, so that's going to be pretty dark. And then the front side would be rather a little lighter than that. So we're going to go a little lighter on the front side. Like that. And then you can go ahead and blend that a little bit. And blend it on the dark side. If your outline is very dark, you might want to lighten it up. Like mine's really dark. I'm just going to kind of lighten it up a little bit. Other than that, that's what we did Monday in class. Make sure that you guys get that in there, and we're going to continue this tomorrow. So just make sure that you have that in your drawing book. Alright, so you should be looking at something that looks like that right now. Okay, you've got your cylinder, your sphere, your cube, and your triangular prism. Okay, remember, no little floaty things all around the outside. Let's keep those away. Alright, that's it.